and I have sex with a bear.
People are going to take so much offense to that.
Learn who loves who, new couples, all deep secrets tonight. It's the best. Okay, we're ready. We're doing
We're already live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sheyld Show. Alec and I get together each and every week. This week we are joined by a very special guest. I know you come here for the latest gossip in the world of the Big Brother community. You know it exists. We know it exists. The whole damn world knows that it exists. You're not here for strategy. You're not here for social insight. You're here for the gossip. So let me make some breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, Alec and Willow are engaged.
Yes.
What other possible reason would they have for being in the same place at the same time?
The first guest.
You like my upper pectoral muscle?
This is nice.
Right?
Good job, babe.
We're engaged to be married.
He put a ring on it.
But will you be having sex with that bear tonight?
Who knows?
That's what I really want to
Keep watching.
Ah! Are we live? Jesus. Not good.
Willow, aside from your impending nuptials with Alec, I know you guys were just a little jealous that Nikki and Joel got married on the show on Sunday, and so you rushed into this kind of willy-nilly, which, you know, I appreciate as a friend to you both, but let us know, let the viewers of the Sheyld Show know what you have thought of this season, Big Brother Canada 4, because, you know, coming off the show last year, I find it's always very interesting, whatever, like the first season after someone gets off, like you have that kind of in between with the stage, but it's not quite the same as it being, you know, the next in your show, your season. So what's been your experience watching this season, and do you like it? And who do you like of the remaining house guests in there to potentially take it all?
Well, I love the season. I mean, I love all seasons still. I'm still a fan. I love everything about it. It's amazing. No, it's definitely weird to watch though, as of just coming off the season. Like you just compare your season a lot. Like it's just kind of like, if they do something, it's like, well, we didn't get that. Or if something's happened, it's like, oh, that's kind of like us. Or like, I feel like I'm always going back and I'm kind of like comparing it from last season or other seasons. But now I feel for these house guests a lot more. I would watch this and I would be like, oh my God, it's so easy. Like, how does he not vote him out? Or why are they crying? Or why do they need a letter on day 4? I get it now. So I definitely I empathize a lot more. I understand it a lot more. It's completely different in there. So I think I appreciate people's games a lot better. Like people's who I wouldn't like, way before, because it's so much harder and you can only do so much in there. So I'm actually happy now that I played it and I can watch it again as a fan. Like I learned to appreciate it a lot more, and I think I love the game a lot more and respect it. I respect games a lot more.
Well, whose game this season do you respect? What's because I mean that's true. You're totally right, and that's something that I think is universal across the board. No matter what format or what country you play in, as soon as you go through it, no matter how much you've seen before, it fundamentally changes how you watch the show. And specifically, certain styles of game become more interesting, or you realize how difficult this is, or how silly it is to do particular moves, and how other moves are so difficult to pull off. So of the house guests remaining, whose game are you kind of most surprised with, and whose do you like the most?
I'm a live feeder. I like somebody who's playing, and Canada's different, right? So you play to Canada, and you also have to play in the house. You're playing like two different sides, really. So I like somebody who goes in there and like knows that they have kind of this audience, and that also they have to play this game. It's very hard when you think about it. You have to play in there and then as well to the country. I like Cassandra. I find her, again, super, super funny on the feed. She's playing towards us. She's hilarious. She's a character. She's definitely overplaying her type of character as well. And she realizes like she knows she's not going to win competition. She knows she's not this athletical threat, and she's using that to her advantage.
Athletical threat. Is she or is she not an athletical threat?
But
Yeah, she's so not athletical that she had to have her dad win HOH for her.
yes,
The Persian princess who can't butter her own toast needed daddy to come in to win HOH, which I think is the most charming thing to ever happen to a character in Big Brother Canada.
oh, and you know what she should do now is just, even if she thinks she like might win or she comes close, just throw it, and she should just be known as that one HOH her dad won, and that's what she should do. Yeah, decide. Yeah. And then when she wins the game, she can say thank you, daddy.
I don't know why anyone's surprised by Cass. I love Cass from day one. You can go back and watch the Sheyld show reveal too, and I call Cass to win. Have a little fantasy board, pick her to win. I think she's great. I think she's living up to everything I thought she'd be. She's not like, I can see the Rachel Riley comparisons, but she's really like, I don't know, not over the top Rachel Riley. She's kind of like, I don't know, diluted Rachel Riley. You know what I mean? When she's like, bad chance, like that. Like that's actually the worst part about Cass. I think. Like the one times I'm like, oh God, Cass, like put a cork in it. Is the like over the top like bad chance.
But I think she's doing that to fit in with the types of girls or the type of like environment
No,
in there.
I think she actually is just like that. I think she's just like kind of like, just like flighty and crazy.
Yeah, or she can
way.
just do whatever she wants.
But that's
like,
why
she says whatever
it's refreshing to see though, because she's like a strategic person that's not like in the diary room talking about how strategic and great they are all the time, because she just kind of like goes in and like throws out a couple one-liners and calls herself the prince. I don't know. She's an interesting character. She's not all strategic. She's not all athletical, as you were saying, but she's kind of a well-rounded character.
And it's not going to her head too, which I really, really like, right? There's just like she can almost get to that kind of like cocky sense where it's, I love Tim, but like I find like he might be getting a little too, you gotta kind of have that, especially in the house. You can't show that you're cocky or like too comfortable or anything. So I like that about her. Like she's still like that goofy kind of.
I really gotta rein it in with the stuff I say about Tim, because one time Sarah, what's Sarah's last name? Miller? She whoops. Oh God, that's probably her.
We're sorry, Mom.
She one time called me out. She's like, "Oh yeah, like you're gonna say that to his face?" And I was like, "Fuck you! This is Sheyld show. We talk shit. Like, actually,
this is a safe area, right?
Safe zone, man. Like, no, they're not.
Tim, I don't hate you.
Okay, Tim, if you go back and rewatch a fucking YouTube podcast show of like two people that you've never heard of ever in your whole entire life.
No, he watched our season.
No, he didn't.
He watched our season.
No, he said he was gonna watch our season, but he couldn't stand Gary because he was too annoying, so he stopped.
Yeah, he got but like I mean, he would not be like he would like be vague, at least vaguely familiar with who we are.
Okay, well I love you, Tim. Keep it up. No, man. He's so cocky, and he's so arrogant, and it's just like, if it wasn't Tim, if you didn't like get chastised online for saying anything negative about Tim, he would not, like, I don't know, man. His reputation precedes him, and I get it. And like, yes, he's a very interesting character, but he's also just like there's downsides to him. There's dark side to Tim that I don't think people really acknowledge publicly, that he is just a major arrogant, like, you know, he thinks of himself as better than other people, and he just like calls Philip an idiot. Fair enough, Philip was acting like an idiot, but like you can't just call somebody out like that. And like, I don't know, it just seems like these little things that he does sometimes, it makes me feel like he thinks he's better than everybody else. But I don't know. I mean, it could just be these things that come across on the show. Maybe he's just like that at his most entertaining points, because on my feeds he doesn't really seem that bad.
First, let me touch on Cassandra, because I think, Alec, you said about her being well-rounded. I think she's maybe one of the more well-rounded players in Big Brother Canada history. She's certainly the best girl of this year, and I hate to split that up between like the best girl and the best guy. Like she is maybe even the best player of the season, even above Tim. Like I think at this point she's even maybe more connected than Tim. And like she's more strategic in like our formats, like more traditional sense, I guess, where Tim seems to be more like socially strategic in the way that he like manipulates the way conversations happen, and he does it more of like he plants, like he actually like puts the idea in people's heads and like then kind of backs off on it. Whereas Cassandra is actually kind of thinking about the maneuvering of the game, which is a total surprise. Like you may have called that on day one when you saw her, but I said that I thought she'd have the strategic dexterity of a peanut. No, I thought it was a funny line, and I needed to give it to someone, and I thought she would be the most appropriate, so I gave it to her. But she totally and completely surprised me. And I think you would, like, if she ends up in the finals, in the final three, which is a very likely scenario, then, man, like, you gotta put her right up there with, like, some of the best girl players ever, maybe, like, certainly among the top, players in the history of the show. And I think that's maybe remarkable to say that just because her archetype, character-wise, being, like, the princess and whatever, and the bitches and all that stuff, isn't really like that, but that's what makes her so unique, and that's what makes her so special, is because she comes in with kind of like, she's a victim of the ghosts of her past, or like not her past, but the past of the show, and then she completely changes the way that maybe we'll view this archetype, which I think is great. Now, her counterpart, Tim, they have clearly been running a majority of the season, both from the middle and now like kind of as part of the majority. So I think that Tim is better than them in a way because he's won. So he's coming in as a winner of Big Brother. And so his whole strategy is kind of being...
You're not better than another human being just because you won a game. You're not. They're all people in there. And that's
no,
what I'm not saying he's treating them like worse players. I'm saying he's treating them like worse people. Like they're below him. That's different.
I don't know if that's true because they all like him. So, like, I'm not sure where that's coming because, like, in the house... all they talk about is how how compelling he is to be around and how alluring his presence, like how much they like him. They just don't trust him as a player. And like the thing where like Phil and Tim, like that little argument that they had was Phil like trying to call out Tim, and then Tim just met him head on. So it's like I'm like his character in the diary room is like, well, I'm gonna win and I'm special. I'm gonna do this. That's him, and like I'm certainly not disagreeing with that. But, like, in the house, they all like him. And so, like, I don't think he's, like, looking down on them or treating them, like, bad or anything like that as people. As a player, I think he does that sometimes, but that's part of his strategy. But I'm not sure where, like, the personal thing is coming from.
I mean, it's not like they wouldn't like it. Like, Gary did that to us, too. Like, Gary thought he was better than all of us. And that's just kind of Gary. That's just, like, an endearing quality of Gary. I think you can do that and not have people hate you. I'm just wondering if I'm completely off base and he's not doing that at all. And I'm like, what do you think? Like, is he like, does he seem like he's like this like kind of lording over other people, or is he just kind of normal and I'm just like reading too much into it?
I think that's also probably why he won his season. He is good at the game. He has this kind of ability to kind of manipulate people, or like you say, plant the seed, but also be your best friend, or like they all look at him like a mentor. Like they're all like, Tim, what should I do? Or like, they always go to him for advice. And he's like...
the Maddie shit where they're calling him the master and she was the apprentice. I wanted to die. Whenever they would do like, the master is now the apprentice. Like, shut up, you fucking voice. I hate that voice. I mean... That
poor guy. If you're watching this, that guy with the voice, we're sorry. Like,
sorry, boys.
He's just having a rough night.
Yeah.
No, I
cool
think
it with the puns in the beginning of every single episode.
No, I think
put Jared's plans on ice. Yeah, you sure did. And there was ice involved. Nice. Well done. Congratulations. Get that fucking voice on the... Anyway. Sorry. What were you saying?
It doesn't matter. Anyway, I think just Tim has that ability to him where he's just kind of like, I don't want to say, it's like, you can almost like, he's not insulting you, but he's like, he's good at tricking you. Like, he's just like, kind of like with Phil. Remember, Phil was like asking him and he was just like, well, like pretty much like, you should do this. It's a big move, like be a man, like type of thing. And then he's just kind of like, he can back off and then be like, no, I'm on your side. Remember, like we're in this together. Like I have you, that type of thing. And if he gets a final three, honestly, like the only way he doesn't win, I think, is because the jury wants a Canadian to win. I think that's why if he gets a final three and doesn't win, that's why.
Well, Cassandra could make a case against them.
That's true. That is true.
I think if they get together in final three.
But I think they cut each other.
Yeah. I'm seeing a John and Netta situation there for sure. But
who?
but I feel like Tim would do that far more than Cassandra. Cassandra, in a way, almost does seem to be wrapped around Tim's finger, and that's like the one negative about her game that I can pinpoint. It's like she really knows that Tim's gonna fuck her over, doesn't care about her, votes against her wishes multiple times throughout the season, and yet she still remains loyal to him. And we know as viewers that, Tim is probably most loyal to Cassandra, but we also know that Tim also wants to win really badly. And so if he sees her as a threat, he's going to cut her, and she should see some of these red flags.
I don't think he sees it though. I really don't. I don't think he sees her as a threat. I think he's cocky or that in his right that he doesn't, and that's.
Yeah, I agree with Willow. I think that, and based on who's going to be like, let's say that they're the final two, and I think they could just as easily take each other. I think Tim is the one who's right now convincing Cassandra that she has a great game, and she does. No one's going to say that Cassandra doesn't have a great game. Obviously, it's true. But here's the reason why Tim knows this is because he has worked directly with her the whole time. And Tim can it's like Alec and I sitting in a room together talking about how great we are. And knowing that if we get to the end, we should be able to present a very clear argument to why we would win. And then you have everyone else in every room going like, what are those chuckleheads doing? Like, they don't know what's going on. When in actuality, we know everything that's going on. It's like, who are they? They're not doing anything. So the perception of Cassandra by most of the other players is that she's bad at the game. Like, very, very bad at Big Brother, like from a strategic standpoint, from a social standpoint, and she's not likable, like in the way that they would want to appoint her as the on the top of the totem pole of their season. They're not. There doesn't seem to be this like rah Cassandra should win because she's the best mentality. Whereas I think, and all that Tim needs is to convince because Cassandra will listen to Tim because everyone listens, or for the most part listens to Tim. And so if Tim is explaining to Cassandra that she's the best, and that means, okay, I am the best, I believe that, because she knows it to be true, because she pretty much is in this season. And so then she will feel totally comfortable with taking Tim to the end, because what they all seem to also understand is that a Canadian should win. And so that means not Tim and not Nikki.
Right.
And that was brought up in the episode in the hot tub scene. And so I think what would happen then is because Tim is such a great arguer in short spurts, and he's so charming, and he's so good at seemingly make others feel good about him, even though he might be sometimes condescending about it. He does it in such a oddly pleasant way that I think this anti-internationals, a Canadian-born person has to win, they might go away simply because Tim can take authority over just about everything Cassandra does in the game, and whether it's true or it isn't, it's believable. And so Tim can totally argue Cassandra's win and then be like, but I also, like, it's like, here's her argument, this is good, and here are all the other things that I did. And I think and it's like how much of an uphill battle, like, him and Nikki should be nowhere near the final five, and they're both going to be there in all likelihood. And so the fact that they've even reached this point is, I think, and Tim's not stupid. He's constructing his win argument every step of the way, and he started by putting himself on the block, which was a lot of people thought was a dumb move. I thought it was brilliant, and he received 0 votes against. And so, and with virtual no repercussions at this stage of the game, that's insane that he's able to pull that move off. Yeah, and so I think if they're there, I think Tim can win.
Why is that? Like, he put himself in any reason at all, and to win it.
The what?
Some audio.
Oh yeah, there's some audio issues. This microphone. Oh no, it's fine. Yeah, that wasn't a good move. That was a bad move. He put himself on the block. You never should do that. That's silly.
I think it was a power move because he knew he would be safe. So it's an arrogant move, but if he knows he's going to receive 0 votes against and has the confidence in his game to do that, it's very cocky, but it's like now he can say, hey, I put myself on the block. You idiots should have got rid of me. You didn't, and now I'm in the final 2 if he gets there. I mean, that's like it starts the conversation of like, look, you all had an opportunity. I volunteered, and you didn't take the shot. You guys are foolish.
Way too great for that tiny modicum of reward.
I feel like he did that and maybe thought he was gaining trust, but he didn't gain anyone's trust. He didn't get in like an alliance. It wasn't like the brothers were like, we owe you one or we have your back or anything like that. I think he just did it. I don't know.
Plus, he wasn't as safe as he thought he was, too. Like, there was some talk about getting rid of him, too. Like, I don't know, man. I think that was just like it's maybe not a bad move because he's still there, but I think it was more of a neutral move. I don't think it really buys him anything.
I guess it was.
It's like it would have been more impressive if he pulled a Jillian and never even went on the block. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that just shows his like ignorance to the actual game because it's like, oh, I need to go on the block in order to build my resume. It's like, no, if you don't go on the block, that's probably a better resume.
Or are they going to use this now and be like, well, Tim, you've already been up. We're going to use you as a pawn again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they could do that.
Well, there's not really more opportunities for pawn at this point. Like, I mean, we're getting into like there's going to be a double eviction on tomorrow. We're sitting in a few hours, and then there's going to be Final Five, and of course there's going to be that like weird Sunday at or whatever episode they end up doing it on. But there's that in between, like Tala, Heather, Brittany eviction that they're going to do, which he can certainly go out on. But I mean, like I just think like he and Nikki, not just him, but I mean he and Nikki both have to have. They can't just have normal arguments to win the game. Like they can't just get to the end and do things that like a normal player would do because they're not normal players. They're coming in as twists. They're wild cards. They're not normal players, and they're not viewed as normal players because you've got Nick and Phil sitting in the hot tub saying, we don't want an international win. We want someone that was born in Canada to win the game. And so like I just think they have more obstacles to overcome. So you might have to do some more outside of the box things in order to like, if you think, which I actually don't like agree with totally that you have to construct your win argument because there's been 22 votes cast in Big Brother Canada and 22 of them have been for the person that, you know, for the finalists that the juror was emotionally closer to or felt better with or was closer by proximity to their game. Like that's a universal truth. 22 votes, 22.
I think you mean
21.
There was one mistake.
Wait, what?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 20. Yeah, sorry, you're right. 21 votes cast. 22. The 22nd one was cast in error, but yeah, that's right. Yes.
Maybe they have emotional connection. I don't know.
Who? Jillian and Topaz?
Yeah.
No, they did not.
Secrets revealed.
Secrets revealed. Willow fucks a bear.
The secret alliance the whole time was Topaz and Jillian? Wow, that is breaking news.
It was a sexy alliance. Okay, here's a question I'll throw out to both of you. First you, then you. Now, would you, as, you know, ex-alumni house guests that, you know, love the game, stay fairly connected with the people, the past house guests, would you root for somebody that's just going to essentially take the money and fuck off back to Australia? Or would you rather have somebody that's going to win and remain involved, help the show progress, maybe do like events for the show or whatever? You know, in the long run, might be better to have a person like that. So would that be a case? I know they're not going to kind of think of that, something like that. But for you guys, say it's like a viewer vote, would you prefer that the winner kind of stays involved or just fucks off back to their home country? Would you vote for Tim, basically?
I honestly, like, any like time, like, I want the winner to represent my season, the best player. Like, because then, you know what I mean? I don't want to have, like, whatever season I am or was or whatever.
But you're not on this season. You're on the previous season.
Say I was on the previous season and I had someone
No, you're now. You're
Oh,
Willow.
now?
You're
and
Willow.
I get to vote?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You're now past house guest Willow.
And I'm going to
voting for who you want to see to win this season.
And I get to click online.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
If that helps you, you can click online.
I'm voting online.
Yeah, you're the sole vote.
I'm right here.
That click does it all.
Okay, this is like, if Tim is the best player, then I vote for him. I don't care. Like, you know, it doesn't matter to me where they live or anything.
Just gonna like leave and be like, oh yeah, I'm back.
But honestly, some of these people, like, they might just fuck off, right?
It's possible,
right? You don't know what they're gonna do with the money. Like, you don't know what half these people. I don't know them that well. Like,
say like, but I mean, like somebody like, you know, if they're involved and like remain involved, like John's pretty involved and Sarah's pretty involved,
right?
Jillian to a lesser extent is also involved. Like, it's good having them around because it's like you know, it's good for the brand. It's good for Big Brother Canada. I think.
But like, how involved do you mean? Like, I think Tim, what do you mean? Come to our
I
finale?
think he would never do anything. I think he'd go back to
might
Australia and live his life.
I
Do
think
some more like Australian reality.
He's attached to those people. You know what it's like to live there. I feel like he would come see at some point, maybe go back for at least the finale, or he could go on the sideshow, right?
Peter, am I completely wrong here? Would you like factor that in if you were thinking about it?
I think that's a really interesting way to look at it. I agree with Willow in that. Okay, let's say that it is Canada's vote. We don't know what's happening with jury. It's a very interesting scenario because for the first time ever, we're one juror short because Ramsey voluntarily left the game due to a family emergency. So we don't know what's happening. It hasn't been announced. I don't think it's going to be announced for a while, which is exciting because who knows what's going to happen. The speculation, now that the brothers have not been split, is that it's going to be a Canada vote. So in that scenario, if it's Canada voting, I would vote for the person that I believe is the best player of the season from my own criteria. However, I do get what you're saying about it, like the keeping like the community active, but you don't need a winner necessarily, or the winner, to keep the community afloat. Like there's a lot of us now, and there are other winners who are there. And so if it is Tim or Nikki who win, it's not like they're not involved in Big Brother, because Nikki was involved in Big Brother UK as of last summer. She was in there for an intruder. Tim was on the most recent season of Australia in as like a guest for a little while in 2014, their last season of the show as of now. And
live here. Those are their own countries. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah, but it's still Big Brother though, and it's not like I don't know. I think that's a weird thing to like because like, okay, let's say for example Kelsey wins. Kelsey wins the show, and she doesn't give a like. She didn't watch Big Brother before. She was recruited because she was hot and she had an interesting job, and she would be a showman's candidate. So ding, ding, ding. She's done all of the things that she was supposed to do. So let's say Kelsey gets to the end and it's Kelsey versus Nikki, and they give it to Kelsey because they don't want an international to win. And Kelsey just like, okay, well, I don't give a shit about Big Brother. I just came here to win $100,000 and I'm going back to be a flight attendant. You know, like, have a nice life, guys. Like, call me if you want me for All Stars. Okay, so that's a realistic possibility, just as real as it is Tim, who's one of the most famous reality stars in his country, now would come here and become locally famous to our viewership as well. And it helps to grow the show in an international way, or put it on the track to anyway, because then what I think maybe is starting to happen, or what they would hope to have happen, is to make Big Brother Canada the definitive Big Brother. And that means bringing in more people from the international shows, and like maybe doing it Canada versus the world or something like that. And it's not Big Brother Canadians, it's Big Brother Canada. You know, it's like Big Brother in the USA. It's not Big Brother USA. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, the show is called Big Brother Canada to differentiate it from Big Brother USA, basically. It's still just Big Brother. And so I think this fixation on it being like Canada, Canadians, is a little short-sighted. And if you lose the scope of like what the show could become as the the definition, or like the main Big Brother in the world, and I think the show should aspire to have that. And if Tim is our winner, fantastic. If Nikki is our winner, fantastic, because we know that they love Big Brother, and they're not just gonna piss off on it because they haven't.
No, I'm not. I think you're missing the scope of my. I'm not saying audio. This. Hold on. Let's wait.
Technical difficulties. Behind the scenes. Okay. All right. Production. Oh, okay. Okay, good. So my argument is that I don't want somebody to like win and they go fuck off. It doesn't matter if they're Australian, UK. They don't have to be Canadian. In your scenario where Kelsey goes and fucks off too, yeah, I would hate that. I wouldn't want to vote for her either. I'm saying like the Pax Bros, if they win, they're probably gonna stick around. They're probably gonna like party a bunch. They're gonna be like wanting to tour Canada, like doing events and stuff, promoting the show, hanging out with us. I think as a selfish ex-house guest,
that wants to hang out with these people. I think it's better that like the winner sticks around in Canada. Like if Tim wanted to move here, I would fully vote for him to win. If you wanted to like, you know, be representative of Big Brother Canada in Canada and like go to the different like, I don't know, towns and whatnot and promote the event. Okay, listen, Will, you don't have to make these faces at me. I'm making an argument here. Okay, I just don't want the winner to go and fuck off. Like it's like Sabrina won. Yay, she went to Mexico and never talked to anybody ever again.
But
like that's boring.
You don't hang out
like,
with a lot of the people that live across the country. It's hard. Canada's a big thing. So what matters if it's like, you know what I mean? You probably would see Tim and the Pax Bros the same amount of time whenever there's a Big Brother event that brings us all together.
No.
They're like so far away.
Yeah, I see people from faraway places all the time, but not that far.
How many times do you travel to the East Coast?
I just don't think it'll mean as much to them. I don't think they'll care enough. And like,
you're just looking for a new friend.
Clearly, I have to hang out with Willow. That's how lonely I am. Got it.
I'll say this.
I don't know how much.
I'll say this.
Interesting argument to have.
Both Tim and Nikki have it written into their contracts, and Jason Veronica had the same thing about wanting to stay in Canada for a little while after the show, no matter when they get evicted or eliminated.
Nikki has it.
So when Jason Veronica didn't make the show, they stayed in Toronto because they wanted to see the city. They wanted to see Canada for the weekend. And Tim and Nikki, when they get out, Nikki's doing like a Canada tour. So let's say Nikki is our winner. She already has tour dates lined up across Canada. And Tim also has it in his contract that he wants to stay, like he's staying like for a week, or like he has a week or something like that afterwards, because they've talked about it on the feeds. And it's not like a Big Brother Australia is totally foreign to Canada, because Tahan, who was on Tim's season and is a gigantic Big Brother Canada fan, she randomly came to New York with Netta and I 2 Christmases ago. And so, like, I've seen Tahan and talked to Tahan more than I've seen some people from Big Brother Canada, and especially some people from Big Brother USA. And so, I mean, I get what you're saying, and like I agree. I would want the winner to just fuck off and be like, okay, I've won my money and I'm going home. I think that if Tim and Nikki win, they're not just going to say like, I washed my hands of the show, thanks for the money and so long. I think them, as people who participated in Big Brother before and understand kind of what the world is about, would be more inclined and would have more of a like they would want to, like, you know, get out there and see all the provinces and see all the people and meet everyone and do all that. Or maybe that's fantasy booking. Maybe that's just me in my head thinking like that they would want to do that. But I would hope that everyone would want to do that.
Here's what it comes down to. I don't want to be another notch on Tim's belt. All right? Big Brother Canada is a sexy girl. You know? You want to be that they're tied to. Nikki's never won it before. So if she wins it, she'll be like, oh, yes, I finally won. And we'll love Canada, like the Canadian shit. Tim's just like, oh, another win for me. Wait, how many is that now? Oh, I can't even remember. Oh, that was rude and xenophobic. You know what I'm saying, right? I want it to mean something. I don't want it to be another list, another thing on the list of accomplishments. And, you know, it just gets less and less important. So I want the winner to actually, for them to be important to them. And I don't know.
Here's why I think it would be important. And I mean, I'm a Tim apologist, and I'm a Tim fan. And I hope that he was going to win since the moment I found out he was going to be on the show. But why I think it would mean something is the same reason it would mean something to me if I was in the same position. So let's say in a fantasy scenario where I didn't completely fuck up and I won Big Brother Canada, and then I found myself on Big Brother Australia, I would want to win because I would want to be the only guy in the world who won in 2 countries in 2 formats. And that's not a notch on the belt. That's like, you know, that's upper level. That's like, you know, top of the mountain looking down on everybody else. And maybe that's not what you want. Maybe you don't want like to elevate somebody up to like that status, which is perfectly reasonable. But I mean, like, can you imagine, like I know that would be extremely important to me. Just to play is extremely important to me. But to have won in your own country and then go to somebody else, another country in a different rule structure and also win, you're goddamn right. That's going to be. It's not like, oh well, I've been there, done that. Like that's That's huge. That's colossal. That's the all-star of all-stars. And then I think, again, looking down the road, I think what's most important, what's cool, is that it opens up Big Brother Canada to even more of a global show. Like, we're on global, we might as well be a global show. And yes, I understand that it's the show should be the regular seasons should feature a predominantly Canadian cast. Yeah, I'm on that boat. I'm not anti-casting Canadians. But how awesome would it be to do Canada and U.S. versus the world, or Canada versus U.S. versus the world, or whatever it is? That's incredible. Having Tim and Nikki as a huge part of the season starts that conversation, and it's only going to happen here. It's only going to happen in Canada. They're not doing it on CBS. They're not doing it on Channel 5 in the UK, and they're not doing it on Channel 9 or 10 or whatever it is in Australia. They're only doing it here. And maybe that's just because I work for the damn show, but I want to see that kind of stuff happen.
I don't know. I don't think it increases the odds of that happening, just having them win versus having them go far. But I don't know.
Well,
I think it's clear that I just
let's agree to disagree.
I think I just secretly love Nikki because I'm bending my own rules for her.
I love Nikki so much. I really want Nikki to win.
She met out with Cassandra in the most recent episode.
I just saw that down there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good. Okay, so hey, Willow, was that kiss better, hotter, or not as good, not as hot as your kiss with Sarah?
I didn't get to see it. I sadly, it's going on right now down below
and
here.
Sarah's on the screen. It's bringing up all kinds of memories.
Is she on the screen? Oh my God, there she is. Oh my God, I don't know. Can I get back to you? Secrets revealed. I don't know.
Yeah, you
just bring up old flames?
Old flames.
Old flames. Oh my, am I getting choked up?
Drama.
Who does she love?
The bit.
Well, we literally every one of us have ex-Big Brother flames, so we're all equally stupid.
Thank God. I honestly, anything with Nikki is pretty hot. I would love.
No, I was thinking about this. It's
to make it with Nikki.
No, I think it's she's in a non-sexual love column for me. I think I love her so much that I couldn't think of her in that way.
I just love her so much. I think that I just might want to kiss her. I don't know.
Really?
I want to be her. Exactly.
That's you attracted to Nikki?
I think I'm attracted to who she is as a human.
Yeah.
Right.
I think so
right.
Too. Yeah. She's got an attractive personality. But
speaking of attractive personalities, the jury is still out on whether this person has one or not. And the debate is also still out as to whether he's a good player or not. He's certainly been successful to this point, but his game is in serious jeopardy, and he may be evicted in just a few short hours. And that is everybody's favorite Emmett ripoff, Jared. And so this might be the end of the road for Mr. Kessler later this evening. And the question really is, is Jared good at Big Brother, or did everyone in the house just tell him he was good and dangerous and a threat, and then he let it go to his head? Because really, if you look at the things that Jared's done, he has been completely isolated in his own alliance, like the third wheel, with a little bit with the brothers, but that's a very tumultuous relationship because they're both basically constantly at each other, trying to backdoor one or the other, and running in circles doing it. And, he's proven to be, he's very selfish, and he's very rude, and he's very condescending, and he gets very jealous, and he gets in these moods, and we've seen him on multiple occasions not actively want to participate in the game, where Kelsey is telling him to go do stuff that will benefit his game directly, and he won't do it because he thinks the world should be handed to him on a silver platter. He didn't take Cassandra's offer in the HOH room before she made her first nominations, which I believe is his fatal flaw. So just to kind of recap what happened in that room, it was Cassandra, Kelsey, Jared, and Tim. And Cassandra kind of was extending the olive branch, and there were some flirtations about having the four of them be the final four, which at various points all of them wanted to have happen. And so Cassandra was like, okay, well, I think kind of maybe a scenario that could work would be putting the brothers versus Jared on the block, and it would be kind of like a trust thing. Like, Jared was not her target. The brothers were still the target, but then Jared could win, get himself off, and they could put Nikki up as the pawn instead of, And he was like, no, I don't want to do that. And his whole attitude has been very, holier than thou. And he's he's expected, and his whole argument this week is, I deserve to be here over Nikki just because. Like when they ask him why, he doesn't really have anything. Like, I've worked harder, I've faced more adversity, whatever it is. When he really hasn't, because the house has kind of given him everything that he's wanted the whole time by constantly reminding him that he's the biggest threat and he's the best player and all these types of things. But is it like an echo chamber where they're all just telling him he's the best and it's bouncing off the walls and he believes that he's the best? Or is he actually a good Big Brother player in the way that we would traditionally define it? I personally would say no. I think he's very bad at Big Brother. I think he's been successful at Big Brother because he's charming and intimidating, and people don't want to upset him because he gives them the puppy dogs, and he's a very attractive, built guy, and for whatever reason, they just don't want to upset Precious Jared. But has he been strategic? Not really. Has he been great socially? Not at all. And so he's not really manipulated anything. So why does everybody say that Jared is good in the game in the house? And finally, will this be the week that he goes home?
Will go.
I think that, this is the week that he goes home. I think definitely. But I think what happened is, I don't think he's the best. Sorry, honey. I don't think he's the best player, but I do think he's a good player if he's gotten this far. He must be doing something right because of what he looks like. He's a beautiful boy. He's athletic. He is the athletic threat. So athletical threat. He is he obviously going right in. He can't hide that. He can't be a Cassandra. He can't do that. But to get all the way to now, where are we at? Final 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at final 7.
He'll be me.
Yeah.
Right. That's
the Alec.
That's huge because he was a target and he was able actually with the Levita thing to not get nominated that second time. That was more Jared. That wasn't Kelsey helping that out. That was more Jared. I feel like as the season progressed, though, and this happens a lot to all of us, you kind of get a little crazier in there. And I think the pressures of the jealous Jared coming out, and he's kind of almost giving up, where he just doesn't want to go talk, and you have to be fake, and you have to like these people. And it's almost like he's just giving up, where he's like, I don't want to do that anymore. I think in this first little bit, he was doing an okay job. He had to have somewhat of a social game for those brothers to help him off the block that time during the with Maddie's HOH. There's he wasn't a hated house guest. He has some type of social. Yes, he had an alliance with the third wheel, but he has other side pockets. People are talking game with him. He's not the best, greatest, but he is a good player. If he's that big of a guy, he got himself off the block twice. Wait, no. He got himself twice off the block. And how many vetoes do he has? 2? He obviously is good.
He has 2 vetoes, 1 HOH, 3 nominations.
Okay, and that in a statistic, you do the statistics, that's a good player, right?
That's I agreed with everything you were saying up until that. I don't think saving yourself when you're on the block ready to go home is who cares?
Why? Sometimes you just
whatever.
Sometimes you have to win out.
A little
but that's
chip into
part of the game. You have to win out. At some point in the game, especially when you're.
Then what you're saying? Well, I guess you didn't watch this episode. Well, what you're saying entirely contradicts what he did here because.
No, and that's why he's got to go home. Obviously, and that's why when those athletic boys. At some point, same with the John, you have to win those comps at some point in the game, or you're screwed. You're not going to be able to manipulate or be like, oh, but keep me around because when you get to so many numbers, it's like.
I think if you have to rely on a comp to save you, you've already kind of done something wrong. But true. I don't think I agree with you everything else he said. I think he's a good player, and I think the only thing you'd have to do is ask the people in the house. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. We're not even there. Right. So I think if you asked every one of them, they'd say oh yeah, Jared was a really good player. That's why we need to get him out, or that's why we were all afraid of him because everybody liked him. He was a social threat. He was also a physical threat and all this. It's I think the only opinions that actually matter about people's games are the ones that have the opportunity to vote. And I think if he was in the final 2, he would have a very strong chance of winning. And I think a lot of people would vote for him just for the fact that he is ostensibly playing the best game in that house. So I think what we think doesn't matter. If everyone's saying that he is a good player, then he most likely is. But it's hard because I'm kind of a Jared apologist because I see all the shit that he gets online. And I think a lot of that is jealousy driven. I find myself wanting him to leave just because I don't want another good looking athletic athletical, hunky guy to succeed because he's probably got all these other things going on in his life. It's like, fuck, what does he need this for? But if you take that out of it, was he the best player in the world? No. Did he live up to the hype of the Emmett Beloises that people were comparing him to? Absolutely not. But he was a decent player. He would have been fine if the Pax Bros didn't win this veto. If it was some other veto and somebody else wins it, or everyone saved Pax Bros and maybe Joel wins it, he's fine. And who knows how far he gets after that? Maybe he wins HOH, maybe Kelsey wins. He was in a pretty decent position. So I think sometimes Big Brother's a game where you can do everything right and still lose the game.
Right, yeah, that's true. Even the best players lose. Stole
that from the guy on Survivor who said just right before.
But I have a question for you guys. If somebody like Jared, which we have the situation tonight where he could have won the veto, but he obviously didn't, he loved his hair more than the game, essentially, right? So does this mean that he's not that good of a player because he doesn't love the game as much as we would say? Does that make him, or is it just he's still a great player, he just loves his hair? Does that counteract kind of the type of player, or how would you rank him as a player now because he said no to cutting his hair?
And keep in mind, if he did say yes to cutting his hair, he would have won the veto, thus making him a better competition player and a lot of people's.
So what do you do you think
that's a good question? Yeah. Let's let Peter go first.
Peter.
So I agree with Alec in that if you are in a position in which you need to win a competition to save yourself, you've already done something wrong. Did Joel need to win that competition to save himself? Absolutely not. Did Joel go way above and beyond to attempt to win that how bad do you want a competition? He absolutely did. Jared did as much as he needed, as much as he wanted to, which is all that Jared has ever done. He does what he wants and then gets mad at other people when they don't give him the rest or don't give him his way. And so, yeah, I completely agree. He's not a fan. And that's fine. You don't have to be a fan of the show to be respected as a player or whatever. That's not what I'm saying. But him going, okay, I don't think I'd shave my head either. I'm not as crazy as the Pax Bros, and hats off to them. They busted their ass. They got it done. They may have only saved themselves for what will end up being 20 minutes, but they saved themselves. And so Jared, that's Jared, it'll all work out because I'm Jared was basically his philosophy. And so, yeah, it's for as good as they say that, but they've been saying it since week 2. How good of a player can you really be if everyone in the house knows that you're good? And it's I do agree with what you're saying, Alec, that the people in the house ultimately know what's going on the best. But it's if they're just constantly reaffirming this notion that Jared is good at the game, or he's dangerous, or he's a comp threat, which isn't even that true. The Pax brothers are way more, the bros have won the most amount of competitions. And if they win HOH and they keep going, and if they win out, they will be the most dominant competitors, win-wise, in the history of Big Brother Canada. So that's what's going on with the Pax Bros. Jared is not that. He's in the middle pack. Jared is about as threatening as Maddie, and she only won those AB up down step up competition. And so it's perception. But as Alec has said numerous times in the house, perception is 9/10 of the law or 9/10 of reality or whatever the silly phrasing was. And so because they believe that Jared is good at the game, or they have just appropriated the title of good player to Jared, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When in reality, if you just looked at if you didn't know what he looked like and you'd not watched the show, but you and someone was just explaining what Jared has done, you would say, yeah, he's mediocre. He's okay. And then and all of the kind of selfish, egotistical, whiny things that he does really, puts him on the other direction. It's like Vanessa last year. And I'm not comparing the two because I think Vanessa's a far more exceptional, better player than Jared will ever dream of being. But Vanessa was a fantastic player who was extremely annoying to watch by the end. It was grating to have to get through her because she was so emotional. But she was so strategic and good and great at the game that it made up for it. Jared's whiny and miserable and nasally, and he's tiresome to watch. And he's not good enough at the game to balance that out where you want to see him succeed. You kind of want to see him getting taken down a peg as a character.
Oh, definitely. I think, but I mean, like, just getting back to Willow's the question of does shaving his head or not wanting to shave his head make a worse player? I don't think it makes him a worse player, to be honest. I don't, unless you consider veto wins part of your criteria of being a good player, which I don't. And I think I'd be a hypocrite if I said like just because he didn't win that
but
veto.
Strategically thinking.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
Okay.
If you're thinking like game wise, will I win if I do this, or will I not win if I do this?
Or if I don't win this veto, am I going?
Yeah, in this particular instance, I think but I think Gary got to the end and should have won, and he didn't want to shave his head in a veto that he was going to die on. So I mean, like that was the winner of our season that didn't do it. So I don't think it necessarily makes him a worse player at all. But I think, I would have done it. I would have fucking done it just to be part of the Big Brother thing. Like, that's a cool thing to have happen. You know, not a lot of people.
You basically did it. You voluntarily did it.
Yeah.
Would you?
Neha and I said we would in the house last year. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I'm surprised they didn't make you do it and just like.
I was waiting for that comp. I was like,
no, but they don't want you guys to shave your hair. Though.
Yeah. I was like, I'll do it. I'll shave my eyebrows.
No.
They're like, God, no. Did we lose?
You should do it.
Speaking of shaving, the Pax Bros, they took it all off, man, to save themselves, and hats off to them. I thought they played a great 7-week game. I think they really blundered it the last 2. They had to save themselves, which they did. They put themselves back on a path to success, but they're in a world of danger. Because coming up in a few short hours, we got a double eviction, and that does usually mean bad things for players that need to win cups to win. And the bad thing about where the Pax Brothers are right now is they can't play veto. So it's either they win head of household or they're in a gigantic mess. Because basically, if anyone but Kelsey wins, and even if Kelsey wins, because I feel like she's kind of with Cassandra, but maybe not after if Jared goes. Maybe she'll get afraid. I don't know. We'll see. But basically, if the brothers themselves or maybe Kelsey do not win head of household, brothers are done in this double because absolutely Joel, Nikki, and Tim are going to take the opportunity to get rid of them. So, they kind of they live to die another day, potentially. And so they're in the most vulnerable position going into this double eviction. But hey, they're legitimate comp beasts. They've won the most out of everybody. They're on track, if they get to the end, to win the most ever. So they can do it. There's 2 of them, so they can have
Canada to vote for them, and then the roulette wheel pick them. Is that one of the comp wins? Is that why they're beasts? Just wondering.
Yeah, that counts as what? Yeah, but that's only 5. They still have 5. They're still like.
Oh, is that it? Battle of the Beasts. Those 2.
They still have 5. Like that would be their 6. They still have 5, which is still a tie or more than everybody else in their season. And the most ever. This is including have-nots as well. The most ever is 8. So if they
format.
Yeah, eight comp wins. That includes veto, HOH, and have not for Canada.
Yeah, who's that? Who was that?
Hold on.
Why are you including have-nots?
Because it's competition. It's a winnable competition. Like I have them in 2 separate categories. I have one that's like single basically HOH and veto, and then I have all comp wins cumulatively together. So, right now,
while you do it. So, Willow.
So, right now, total comp wins as of now for this season. So, Nick and Phil 6, Cassandra, Kelsey, Joel 1, Tim 2, Kelsey 4, Nikki 3, Maddie 5, Ramsey 5, Raul 2, Mitch 1, Levita 3, Dallas 4, Christine 2, Shari Page, 0. Let's see, 8 is John Party, and I believe Emmett.
That include the have-nots?
That's like competitions participated in that you were successful in, not just a single one. But I can't move around because we're logged into On the Block right now and not my other one, so I can't go through it. But a discussion for another, a comp discussion for another time. But the final discussion we'll have today is, in a few hours, there's going to be a double eviction. Somebody else is going home, presumably right behind Jared and his luscious locks. Who is it going to be?
Secrets revealed.
We know. Double glasses.
We know.
Double
it's a
glasses
fiction,
prediction.
That
didn't last. All right, the new segment has failed.
It made me sick. Who do I think is going to go tomorrow? It's Pax Bros are in danger.
No, not my bros.
I think they're, and honestly, maybe Tim. You guys know what it's like in a double or a triple. It's like, it's nuts. It's chaos in there. Like,
nobody knows what it's like in a triple.
Anyway, I just thought I'd put it in there. A little plug. That your brain doesn't work as much. So it's like, honestly, that last conversation you have with somebody, or like even like body language you're reading off of, or like, honestly, you might look at someone wrong during that competition or celebrate wrong, and something clicks, and it's like, oh, well, like they're working together. I get, like, the speculation is so high up. Like you have no idea what's going to go, especially in this double, like, especially where they can't even win the veto. Like, the boys can't even, they might be really, like, they're not going to, if they're on there, if they're up there, they're going for sure. If they're not nominated, but if Tim is, they could get somebody like a veto in there, like, to save somebody. Again, these speeches are really big because that's all you have. It's like that, you only have 5 minutes. I think the guys are definitely in trouble. I think the only one sitting pretty is Joel.
Yeah.
I think honestly. Oh, and Nikki. And my girl Nikki.
No, I think Nikki might be in trouble. I think.
What? If somebody gets rid of Nikki like that?
Cass was having a discussion with Tim in the HOH room in this episode, and she was like, "You've got to promise me you put Nikki on the block next week." And she's super tight with Joel. So if Joel wins, then he might put up Nikki.
As a target, though, like, that's.
Well, they were gonna target. That was the other idea. Like, they were thinking about targeting Nikki this week.
I thought it was a joke. Can you imagine that?
I did too. I don't know.
Can you imagine standing in your final 2 and you're like, well, I did get out Nikki.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no.
Big move.
I don't know. For some reason, I mean, I hope it's not true, but I think, fuck, I know, like, one. Oh God, I hope it's not the bros, but it probably is gonna be the bros. But if Nikki goes and, like, dies,
me too.
I'm gonna smash my screen up. They'll start doing, like, a jury house thing or whatever.
Who do you think goes after Kelsey?
Goes after her?
Yeah, like, who puts her up?
If
Nikki wins this comp on the double.
Oh no, Nikki might go after the bros.
Okay.
Nikki kind of just does whatever.
Tim will control that, like, right? That's fair to say. Tim will control that if Nikki wins. Yeah.
Is it weird that I think most people want Nikki to win if she makes it to the final 2? Like, maybe that's not most. Maybe that's just us.
That's just us.
That's just us, maybe. But I feel like I would be super happy if Nikki won.
If it's Cassandra and Nikki, I'd like
not Cassandra, yeah. But, like, I don't know. If it was Tim and Nikki, I'd totally want Nikki. If it was Nikki and Joel, it's tough too. But I want Nikki. If Nikki and Kelsey, I would love Nikki to win. Nikki and the bros, I would give it to Nikki because I don't think the bros would give a fuck. Who else is in there? Nobody? Yeah, that's it. So Nikki wins over, like, 3 people for
Kelsey,
me.
did you pick Kelsey?
Yeah, I put Kelsey in there. She loses to Nikki big time. Yeah, Cassandra and Cassandra and Joel are the only ones that I think I would prefer to see win. Because Pax Bros, I'd rather Nikki.
They get dogs?
Yeah, they get dogs in this one.
Sorry.
Woof, woof, woof. Well, that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, this week. Thank you so much for watching the Sheyld Show. This year, of course, we are part of the On the Block Network with Spencer and McCray from Big Brother 15. They are on the block, of course, since Spencer was on the block about 400 times during his season, so it's a very catchy title. And also part of the network is Max and Corinne. They do the Survivor show, and so we've got everything covered in the world of reality TV because we love it. We're passionate about it. We were people that went through it. So we like to think, hopefully, that we have insight that you can't get anywhere else. So Sheyld Show is very happy to be part of the On the Block Network this year. And if you want to give back in any way to keep our stuff free, keep it on YouTube, keep it on iTunes, SoundCloud, everything, and just to show a little appreciation, because we certainly appreciate you watching, you can do so by contributing to the On the Block Patreon, which is in the description below, and we sincerely appreciate it. Spencer has a ton of really cool stuff that he'll send out to you if you're part of the Cool Kids Club, which, I mean, we're still aspiring to be, because look at us, we are the furthest thing from cool in the whole damn world. But we really appreciate you watching. Could have been anywhere in the world, and you decided to be with us, and we thank you each and every time that you do it. So that's going to do it for the Sheyld Show this week. Willow, thank you for providing your insight.
Thank you. Thank
Reveal
you.
your big secret now, Willow. Let them
Okay,
all
guys,
know.
I need to let you guys know. I'm here in Alex's house.
Yeah.
This is
Whoa.
Yeah, this isn't like I'm not like Skyping in. Like, this is real. I'm in his house.
And you're so
You
tan.
mean you're not a hologram?
No, I'm not. No,
Real
no.
Willow. No
This is taped
getting through there.
This is taped in real time.
No getting through there. Do the rest of the show with my hand in your face.
Okay. Thanks for having me, guys.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Willow, I want you to give the biggest secret of your life. I'm going to count you down, and then I'm 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you tell the world what they've been waiting to hear. But before we get to that, for Alec, I'm Peter. We're the Sheyld. Thank you for believing. Until next time, say it, have a curve. Okay, 5, 4, 3,